Welcome back, everybody, to the Comic-Con Podcast, Season 2, Episode 42. With you tonight is your two best hosts of all time, the dynamic duo, the best of the best, the nasty boys, Justin, a.k.a. Nemesis Prime, Zack, a.k.a. Milton the Manimal. What's up, Justin?
What's going on, man? It's been a while. You weren't here last week, right?
No,
You were busy. You know, there was supposed to be a concert. That's what we spoke about. I was talking about last week. I know I brought that up, and it's very ill will. I'm so glad I didn't go, though, because that would have been super bad.
It was, man, I don't even know what to say. Been looking forward to that since like March, bought the tickets 45 minutes before the concert's canceled. And then, not to
That's so upsetting. Like, that's wild.
And so not to get into like the whole thing, 'cause trust me, I'm going through like all the stages of grief and depression and whatever. But what's frustrating, quickly, what upsets me about it is initially the
person about the concert, right? Not mentally.
The concert, yeah.
Okay.
Initially, the concert was only supposed to be one day, right? And then people like myself and everyone who bought tickets, like right out the gate, boom, sold out. That concert sold out like immediately for Saturday the 22nd. And they're like, wow, it's so successful. We'll do Sunday the 23rd. Boom, sells out or sells enough that they're also like, wow, there's a huge interest. Let's do the following Saturday the 29th. So everyone who purchased tickets for the concert on Saturday didn't get to go to the concert on Saturday. All the people who purchased tickets on Sunday and presumably this next week will get to go to the concert only because of the money, like myself and everyone else who first funded day one of the concert and made it successful. So it's a bitter pill to swallow. And
it's like funding a Kickstarter and then you getting like the short end of the stick at the end of it, right?
Or
So
it's like Kickstarter, the issue gets canceled. But did they do another one with the money or something?
No. It's like you fund it. You and like all the other people like overfunded on like day one. Okay. And then like anybody who jumps on after, like they get all those stretch goals.
Oh,
right. That's basically what it is. That's what it would be.
Sure. Disappointing is what it was.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, so back to the real world. I will say this. Oh, and if anyone follows me on Instagram, you'll know that I did go out there and was able to hang out with our good friend of the show, Gabe Loves 90 Comics. Gabe, who's a good buddy of mine. Every time I go out to Vegas, he goes out of his way to meet up. And if anyone's familiar with Vegas or from Vegas, you know what that means to be like a local and be asked to come to the Strip, because they hate it. They don't like going to the Strip. They don't want to be anywhere near it. But Gabe was a good sport, met up with us day one, then met up again Sunday and watched some football. So big shout out to Gabe. Had a lot of fun hanging out with him. Always great to see him. But that's it, dude. Let's talk comics.
Yeah, man.
First, we got some questions from the community, right?
Yeah. Let's we got a voicemail. Let's do our voicemail. It was sent to our Instagram. So it was sent over to the Comic-Con Podcast's Instagram account. I think this person sounds familiar, so let's go ahead and play this and we're gonna go ahead and answer it.
Hey there, guys. Newbie Comics here, all the way from Canada. Longtime listener, 4-time guest appearance. But yeah, I got a question for you guys. Do you guys see the market changing? Obviously, Silver Age is really just getting all the love lately. Even Moderns, the flavors of the week are basically just that for a day, maybe a day and a half. It seems like all the money is going to Silver Age. Do you guys see this being just kind of the new phase for the next couple months, or are we in uncharted waters with people just going after silver, it seems? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think I know that guy.
Yeah.
Hey there, guys. Newbie
Definitely think I know that guy. Yeah, it's interesting, right? You want to take this first? Or you want me to go?
Sure, I'll kick it off. I think he nailed it. Where in terms of like the uncharted waters aspect. First off, let's tackle that, because we are in uncharted waters with. We've talked about it, with the MCU and the success of the movies and the Disney Plus and stuff. It's obviously kicking off again what he called like the flavor of the weeks, right? And like really spiking these, cover price books that then pop to a quick $25 real quick because something is hot or first appearance of a character, and they cool down and then never heard from again. So, I mean, in my history, which is, you and I clock in pretty much the same amount of history of collecting comic books, I've never seen the market like that before. Like it's more of a recent, I don't even know if decades is long, but let's say 5 or 6 years, kind of been a newer thing. So I think that is uncharted waters. I don't necessarily think the Silver Age is, though. Silver Age is always hot. What do you think?
It's steady. I think so. I'm going to kind of take the opposite side. So I think the modern stuff I agree. I definitely agree. But the thing is, like with the modern stuff, and I believe it's because, as us older collectors, we know the legacy characters, right? So we were always about like trying to get the first appearances and like the bigger
Right.
books of like the legacies. And then you have the newer collectors who like someone who's maybe in their, 15 years old, 20 years old, who can't afford like these giant keys, right?
Mhm.
And you're a newcomer into the hobby. You're reading obviously the older characters, but you're also reading the newer characters. So the newer characters like Kamala Khan, Riri, Shuri, going after those books is a lot easier to go for in like a 9.8 or
Sure.
even near mint, right? So you're getting it, but you don't. If you buy it now, like as a younger reader, in like 10, 20, 30 years, that book will be worth more than what you paid for it now. I think the problem is that retailers and people like ourselves and resellers who are buying the books and trying to flip it for way more, especially like, first appearances, is not the game anymore. Like, it's just not. Like, you need to buy collections, you need to get stuff in bulk, you need to get stuff, you need to find stuff. But yeah, the quick flips, and I've had this conversation with Newbie constantly. It's definitely the flavor of the week. Like, whatever's hot, just sell it. Like, if you find it, sell it. Don't even bother holding on
Don't
to
wait
it,
on it.
because
Yeah.
then like that book, everyone's going to start posting it on Instagram and whatnot and eBay, and then the market is just flooded.
Yeah, I mean, you could even say somewhat in terms of like the golden or silver age stuff as well. It can be tricky on that too, like where you buy in low years ago and you bought like, I mean, let's use like Wonder Man, right? Was Wonder Man considered silver age? First Appearance of Wonder Man?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
yeah, because he's like old Avengers. So
Yeah. A book like that, and you hold and hold and hold in your hopes that he's going to eventually show up. Even that book, or even like a Nova, which isn't a silver age, but like those kind of books, you wait to grow. Dude, those markets are going to be flooded as fuck when that shit comes out. So,
but it'll
it's
still be
tricky.
worth more.
It'll still be
Like,
worth more. Yeah. Well,
you know,
hopefully.
yeah, it's definitely gonna be. I'm sure if you bought in low, like, even for myself, like, obviously I still have all my Dr. Afras, all my Kanan ones and Heir to the Empires. Like, I bought them in early. I was finding them on the cheap. Like, even if I sold now, I would still come out on top. Like, very well. I'd come out with a very good profit, but I'm not willing to sell it now. Like, I'm fine waiting until there's like appearances or trailers. And then even as the market is flooded, I'd still make profit because I was into them for nothing. So those people that are collecting it for so long and waiting for books is exactly what, Newbie's talking about. But like books, like, just because they show off something, like, obviously what was the latest hottest book was like the Wolverine Deadpool, like their meeting.
Yeah.
That thing is cooled off. Like, it was there for like a week or two, and then now it's just like, all right, no one cares anymore because there's another thing that got optioned or is coming out soon. So
yeah, I'm looking at, like, I know one of the books that showed up on Cover Price like the past 2 weeks, something that you put me onto and it's been kind of hot the past couple of weeks, is the Son of Staros first appearance, right? Like,
that's right. You and Newbie.
Yeah, but to be honest, that in give it a month, that's going to cool until something happens with that character. So yeah, it's the game, man. It's up and downs. I think that, I mean, as the collector that I am, the collector I like to be, it's about the silver age and first appearances, because like you said, Justin, I mean, we're the older generation now, which is going to kind of segue into our next question, but we're kind of the older generation, and that's what we are. It's all about first appearances, So, but no, it's a good question from a kind of dim-witted guy,
Ugh, damn Canadians.
Dude, seriously, I'm surprised he was able to formulate a sentence.
Anyway, yeah, I guess if you don't know who Newbie Comics is, please give him a follow on YouTube and Instagram, OnlyFans.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything he does. So, but thank you, Newbie, for the question. And again, people, that's what you could do. Send us voicemails. We'll literally play them. We will talk about them. And, or you could do this way, like our man Hunter, who sent us an email over to the comicconpodcast@gmail.com. He goes, "Hey guys, great work each and every week. I believe all three of us are around the same age, 40 years old, which is what something Zach literally just said. And I was wondering if you guys ever think about your age when collecting. This is something that I've thought about a lot lately. We still consider 30-year-old books modern, and most of the books are still seen as newer books. With that being said, that would mean that the books I am buying today will still be as newer when we are in our 70s. I don't know what life will look like at that point, but I'm betting on me not caring about the third print of Venom #1. I know the answer will always be collect what you love and how you want. But there is probably an age where collectors need to think about why they are buying variants and random books. I'm not saying stop collecting, just wondering if your age has ever impacted your collection. Stay faithful.
Man, that's something like to touch on an aspect of that. Something I've always thought about, bro. Especially like when, and I don't fill these out as much as you do, but when you're sitting in CGC books and I'm like modern, and I'm like, bro, we need to come up with a new name. Like
I was thinking that with this
so it's
question.
gold, silver, copper, or gold, silver, bronze, right? And then modern is everything else. Like we need a new term for wherever bronze leaves off to probably, what would you say, 2000 or two? What do you call 2010s? 2010s, the
Still
aughts,
moderns.
aughts. No, there's like a term for that decade, like the aughts.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Something like that.
But it's weird because like CGC used to only go back, I think it was to like 1980. And then they pushed back moderns to like 1975 because they still considered at the time, like I think Giant Size X-Men, like still when they pushed it back, like just made it into moderns when it was still like an affordable book. But obviously with the value of that book, you can no longer consider like a modern. It won't fall into the modern tier. It would have to go into like economy or standard grading. But yeah, you're right.
We need a new term, right?
I mean, so you figure even if modern is like from, because I guess like bronze is the 80s, right? 70s and 80s, or maybe 80s and into 90s because the silver age is like 50s, 60s, 70s. But yeah, at what point? Like even if it's 90s starts the modern age because of the modern age comic boom. So you figure now we're 30 years in, right? We're 30 years into the modern age. So when are we going to get past the modern age?
Right.
And call it something completely new, like the platinum age?
I think it's so we got bronze, and then I think next has got to be like copper. I think our 90s is like copper.
It's going to be interesting. Like once it switches over.
Yeah. And we just got to start calling it that. Well, dude, the Comic-Con podcast, can we do it? Can we be the ones?
Ooh. I don't know. Can we influence enough people?
The influencers. So, he's right though. Like moving on from that weird topic that we segued on, or kind of got stuck on, but true is, he's right. Like all the fourth prints. And so, here's a good one. What about, okay, so look back on like a modern that had a lot of prints. The one that always jumps to mind is Death of Superman, first appearance of Doomsday, right? Where it went up like quite a bit of printings. So like, do those printings matter? Did they matter at the time? I know things are a little different now in terms of printings with modern books, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be weird, as the collection goes on, like as you buy and sell things, because Zach and I, we're both the same people as far as like when a run ends, like do you keep it or do you sell it? I've been selling a lot of more indie stuff, even like if something ends in like the Marvel or the DC side. Something is Killing the Children's another perfect example. That thing went to 7 printings before then they did like the free comic book day or local comic book day 7th printing, and then they did the foil. But like, will those later printings, will anybody care like once the series is done?
Right.
Like 30 years down the line? Or will they always only care about the first printing? So
yeah, it's tough to say. Like what Something is Killing Children is actually a really good example of a book that got super hot, high prints or printings, and then, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let's say they come out with a show. Let's say they finally come out with a show, right? Show ends. Let's run a hefty 10 years from now, right? Show ends, run ends. We're done with it. We're moved on. Yeah, like you said, will those printings matter? I think, don't you think it might fall back to what? Like number one, the first printing, and then maybe what the lowest print run of the printings are?
Well, I think like normal collectors, not me, because he talks about buying variants, but like a normal collector would just want the first print.
Right. I would.
And most people that obviously can't go out and don't want to buy, especially like, let's look at my Batman collection. If I didn't collect Batman variants, like not even talking like the 1 in 25s, if I was just cover A Batman from volume 1 all the way to now, I would have a lot more money to buy a Golden Age Batman than anytime like they would do the 1 in 25s, the 1 in 50s, whoever's doing like Frankie's Comic Mint, whoever's doing like these exclusive variants, like those are great because for artists, like it puts artists on the map. But as a collector, like will anybody actually care about it because they know the print runs are all pretty high?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm what you called, and which is correct, a normal collector. And so I don't worry about the variants and the printings and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I don't even really categorize myself as a collector anymore, just a reader and then a mover honor. But
Yeah. I like that idea. That's what I've been doing
Yeah.
recently is literally just like Deadly Class just ended. I talked about it with Ken last week. And, that I literally listed it. Final issue. I listed all 56 issues with like a bunch of cover B's, cover C variants, whatever. It's up on my eBay page. It's like $300, but I think it's well worth it. If not, take a best offer, or the
Yeah.
Comic-Con podcast deal. So
it's tough, dude. I don't know. I don't know where the comic community and the collecting game is going. I don't know. I wasn't really present and like paying attention to like the boom or the bust of the comic book market, back in the 90s and stuff, but everyone talks about it, and I feel like one of the biggest things was oversaturation, and I think name a time where we've been even more oversaturated than now. I mean, exclusives on printings, on variants, on artists, and you're not wrong. It's good for the artists because it does give people like platform to show their art off, but shit,
it gives them a better stepping stone into this community, like into the culture.
Yeah.
Sometimes an artist this could be like their first cover, and because it may be cheap, right? You do a brand new variant on like a Batman book or any type of indie book, and just because you have no idea who the artist is, and I'm sure the artist is only going to charge like like a tenth of what like a big name A-list artist is charging, right? But it's like, wow, that actually came out better than these artists that have been around for a long time. And that happens, right?
Right. And it's a way for like DC, Marvel, and Boom and Image to also kind of like showcase an artist and be like, okay, this is kind of a newer person. Peach Momoko, as far as I know, kind of came out of nowhere, right?
But she wasn't she wasn't a variant person. Like she did Marvel covers, but she's also done like stuff on IDW, but she didn't start by doing like variant covers.
Right. But like
exclusives.
It gives the opportunity for like the community to kind of see something, and say, oh shit, that's something I like. So
yeah, 100%.
But both good questions, really good questions, talking about kind of both similar questions, talking about modern collecting and how you should collect, what you should collect. And like Hunter said, collect what you want is always the answer, right? You want the 8 printings, you want all the variants, get them. So, but cool stuff, man. Good stuff. So we are going to move on. That's our community section. We're going to move on to kind of some reviews. We're a little behind just because we were busy. Justin at New York Comic Con. We didn't get to talk about She-Hulk, and then me being out of town. So we're going to talk about some She-Hulk. Is that what we're going to start off with, right?
Oh, this is the review episode.
Yeah, this is a review episode. So
it's been so long, I forgot about the show, and it's probably my review right there.
So we did our mid-season review, and to recap the mid-season review, I think both of our opinions were kind of like in the middle. I think Justin was a little bit more trending downwards, but with hopes that it would pick back up. Justin, did it pick back up for you?
No, it did not.
This is no surprise. We've actually, we've had a lot of this conversation.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before. And it's not. Let's do the episodes post mid-season. So of course everybody was waiting for the Daredevil episode. Like that's the pinnacle of this entire, to me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people,
right?
The pinnacle like episode of this season, and that I feel like that episode didn't disappoint. I could have done probably with everything in that episode except for maybe the Walk of Shame. Like I was fine. I'm fine with him and She-Hulk doing it. It's cool, whatever. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, and if you don't want to see it, that's fine, because like basically just go watch that episode. But so yeah, like that's the pinnacle episode for me, and I think for a lot of people. So and then other than that, like the final episode, I get it, like it's fourth wall breaking, and everyone's like, oh, I love how all the people, like I posted on Instagram about certain things, and people like flip out and they're like, you don't read the comics, this and that.
Dude, there's never been a more adamant like crew, which I'm also like, where the fuck have you She-Hulk fans been like forever? Like what?
Yeah. Exactly. Like I don't see you posting like every She-Hulk book or like a variant or anything until like the show.
Notice
But
how she
anyway,
can't hold a title because none of these fuckers are buying their books.
yeah, barely gets past like 15 issues. But
Yeah.
like I get the fourth wall breaking, and it was a lot. It was definitely really fun to watch. Like the last episode was cool, like where she bashes through like the Disney Plus logo, and I'm like, that's funny. And I feel like they should have just knocked her show off off the screen. Would have been really good, because she's like fighting off the trolls in a way. And then walking through like the Marvel Studios, right, like headquarters, which is cool. But I really felt like they really should have had Kevin Feige in the episode and not Kevin the robot.
Mhm.
Like I think the episode would have been a lot better if Kevin Feige would have showed up. I don't care how busy he is. You could show up for like 5 minutes just to do like a quick, cameo.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, man, I mean, here we go again. We always talk about like where do we list these Disney Plus shows? This is at the far bottom, which I will never turn this up. I will never turn it on again. I don't care that the Daredevil episode was great. I will never turn on this season or series ever again. Overall rating like a 3. Ugh.
Okay.
You?
So, and it sucks because I think even before I had talked so much how I had like really high expectations for this show.
Same here.
Right?
After
And I
that
was like,
second
man,
trailer.
I was
Yes.
like, man, I think this show's going to be really good. I think it's going to be groundbreaking. And I'll even say this. I'll even make the disclaimer that like maybe this thing is not for everyone. The way they told the story, and I'll even say that that's possibly why I wasn't a massive fan of it. And I've said it over and over again. Characters like Harley Quinn, did Deadpool, the fourth wall breaking, that ain't my thing. Like I don't like that. I don't think it's annoying. I think it's tropey. It's too comedic. I understand like, oh, I don't want all these guys to come after me. Like, you don't know She-Hulk. You're right. I don't because I don't like She-Hulk because I don't like that stuff. So that's my choice to not read She-Hulk. So
And real quick, but how many people really know Deadpool? Like Deadpool's not like a great series either, but
no,
everybody
Not
knows that
totally.
he breaks the fourth wall, but it's not really been like that's not him. Like nobody really reads Deadpool either.
Right. I like the you'll never hear me say this very often, but I like the Rob Liefeld Deadpool, not
Of course, everybody does.
Joe Kelly Deadpool. But anyway, I don't know. The show was good in a way, in like some aspects. I didn't like how comedic it was. I felt like nothing had any stake, nothing mattered in the show. And then I felt like that throughout the whole show, and that was proven to me by the ending of the show.
Mhm.
And I get it, they're being kind of meta, and it's all like, oh yeah, the trolls, or we beat you all, But it's also fucking really stupid too. They also, to me, it makes me feel like they think we're dumb. Where they're like, okay, let's do this scene where you get to see the Hulk fight Abomination, and you see this guy Hulk out as well, and all this stuff. And then none of that is actual real. It didn't happen. We just did it to like kind of give you what you wanted. The truth of the matter is, I never wanted any of that. I wanted a good story about She-Hulk, which you never got. Literally, the show was not about She-Hulk. And even she says it the majority of the show. She makes little quips and comments throughout the show about like, is this even my show anymore? She says about Deadpool. She says, don't worry, this is still my show. We'll come back to me. No, we won't. We never did. We never found out anything about you. Like, cool, it's really hard being a Hulk in society, and you actually want to be a human. And that was a decent like arc that you could have played out a little bit more and fleshed out, like the dichotomy of being a hero and in the public and kind of going back and forth and not wanting to be a hero. Like they could have done that. The first couple episodes really leaned into that too. Like, hey, you're hired, but you're hired as Hulk or She-Hulk. You're not hired as Jennifer Walters. Leaning more into, and let's be honest, attorney at law. What did we see? What law did we really see her like do? They should have leaned into that heavier as well. I felt like.
Yeah. And there was too many side stories. Like some of the episodes where they had like the secondary story was unnecessary and could have put more of her. Like that episode that had like a mortal man, right? That's from Great Lake Event. Yeah. Like there was no point for that. There's a couple other parts in the episodes too that I just feel like there's no need for that.
I also didn't think the supporting cast was strong. And her best friend was just what? Other than her best friend, that's all she was. Literally just you're the best friend character. The guy who was like her friend, the other attorney, the dude from Arrow who played fucking
Quentin
Prometheus.
Yeah.
Right? Prometheus, right?
Yeah.
Or Vigilante.
No, yeah. Well, no, it was Yeah, I was right the first time. Vigilante.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah.
what his name was. I'm thinking what is his name in the show.
Adrian Chase. Yeah. He was horrible. Well, there was no point. I mean, not like acting. There was just no point for that character. They just served no purpose. I just didn't understand where it went, man. And then let's talk the big reveal at the end.
Well, no. Oh, well, let's hold on. Like, how about Abomination? Like, how do you ruin?
Oh, that was dumb. Yeah.
Ruin.
Dude, you brought him out, and then like it would have been cool and super. Look, it would have been, obvious if he would have broke bad and it would have gone that route, but still would have been way cooler than what they did with him. Like Namaste, oh, he's the guy on the thing. But I also felt it was pretty unfair for dude to have to go back to jail. To be honest with you, like why do I have to go? So he switched, bro. So he switched for like, self-help type stuff. Oh well. I don't know, dude.
How did they ruin the villain? I mean, he was like cool in Shang-Chi, right? Like you saw him for that fight with him and Wong, and then like you find out, like watching the trailers or leading up to the show that you're like, oh my God, Wong's going to be there. Oh my God, Abomination. So you're going to maybe see like a little bit of that, but yeah, completely like just.
You know what really kind of like bums me out and takes it away was from like when we heard about this and it was all the talk like, hey, we're going to see Emil Blonsky. You're going to see the same actor come back. He's going to play Abomination. So everyone's like, cool, that's going to be super awesome. And it turned out the way it did. And now that also makes me kind of like not super excited to see what they do with the leader when they bring back the same actor from Incredible Hulk and for the leader.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, great. Well, I was excited until I saw what the hell you did to Abomination. So.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely wild come, oh God, I don't even want to think about that. Like, I just want to keep talking about how this show is just absolutely awful and I had to watch it every week. Yeah. And then, go ahead. The big reveal.
Well, I mean, honestly, when you say big reveal, was it a big reveal? Like early on in the show, there was hints about space. There was hints about something with the Hulk. He disappears on the spaceship. He's gone. Bop, whatever. Comes back and steps aside, which first off, you should be embarrassed if you're a Hulk and you can't even be seen behind another Hulk. Like that's embarrassing, bro. You're like the baby Hulk. Okay. Steps to the side and there's Scar. And it just was so like, why even do it like that?
Like, well, so it doesn't Scar, I know very little, but doesn't Scar have the ability to shapeshift? So like, that's like his human form because like he doesn't want to, maybe like in his Hulker form, he doesn't want to like scare them. So he kind of more looks like a human.
Damn, actually.
Yes, no.
I don't, it's been a long time since I've read like the Scar stuff, but no, I don't think so. That's his main form.
I feel like I kind of know that a little bit.
Wrong. Damn, it's been a really long time since I've seen that. Oh, I'm seeing abilities transformation here. So.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. But yeah, terrible. God, he looks awful. I'm like, I just Googled it and of course that image comes up.
He could revert to human form. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
So that's
right.
kind of,
that's a long time. But yeah, dude, it was garbage, man. And then it's funny, the internet was just not having the haircut. The haircut was just god awful. It just was like, what's the point? Cool, you introduce this guy like on a second, like the last screen,
and they were all like fine with it. They're like, hey, and
take a seat next to Matt Murdock. You know, like, what the fuck, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So
man.
Overall, what did you think of the show, though? Like, what's your kind of like your final grade? Because God, I want to just bash this all night.
I don't know if I could go 3. It's pretty low. It's not like maybe a 4 or 5, only because Daredevil and honestly, they did introduce a lot of characters. Not to say that I want to see them again, but you never know what might come out of that. You know what I mean? Like, who knows what character might a new good writer might show up and make something good out of it. Like maybe Scar might ends up being super badass, and then we get to thank She-Hulk for introducing him. But I don't know, dude. I'd like to see Emil Blonsky back. I would have liked to seen him in Thunderbolts.
Yeah, he would have been a lot better than that. I think it would have been cool to have him stick around and then maybe be almost like a something to help out the leader, right? In like the new Captain America would be cool.
Yeah. What happened once again? Marvel turned their hero or their villains good.
Yeah.
Now we have no villains, bro. Eventually we're gonna run out of goddamn villains. That's the problem.
Kang's gonna be around for a while.
Yeah, until they kill him like they did Thanos, or he gets some story where he turns good again.
Yeah.
So
But before we get into our next review, let's kind of talk about. Did you see the Ant-Man trailer?
yeah, I was just thinking about that. We should probably do that. I did see the Ant-Man trailer.
What did you think?
I thought it was cool. I thought it looked good. I wasn't sure what you would think about it because you definitely would. Let me preface
I
this
love how
by
you're always
saying,
like,
because you don't like anything.
I like how you think, real quick. I
comedy.
like how you think, like, oh, what does Justin think about this?
Well, because when I watch him, I'm like, okay, I like this, but then I'm like, I bet Justin won't like this
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of comedy, and you don't like a lot of the comedy. You like a little. The thing about
Mm-hmm.
Ant-Man by far until fucking Thor, Ant-Man by far was the funny
Yeah.
trilogy, right? The funny set character set,
Mm-hmm.
but it worked well with him. I always thought. Um, I thought it looked good. I was pretty excited. I watched it on my phone. I need to watch it again, to be honest. I felt like where I watched it, I had bad, like the screen wasn't great and I couldn't see super well and it was very dark. But I
Mm-hmm.
thought, one, I never like it when they switch actresses or actors and then like switching Cassie Lang.
Oh yeah. Well, I think she's pretty cute. So
Yeah, no, the actress is great. I just, sucks.
mm-hmm.
And did it look like Hope had a weird haircut? That's what I
Yeah,
wanted to
it's a
watch.
little bit different. It's definitely it's age. I don't know, like the timing, like how far past. I guess all the where it lies, and obviously it's going to probably be after Loki. So, and
Oh,
who
yeah.
knows what else? But
I thought it looked good, dude. It looks cool. It looks. One of the things I definitely thought was like this movie's going to be majority CGI. Like when they're in
yeah,
the quantum realm, right?
hmm
Like, it's going to be like basically a fucking green screen movie. So
yeah, agreed. I liked it, man. I definitely liked it. I don't care. Like, yeah, the comedy's there, but Kang, like, it's wild. Like, he looks so comic book accurate,
yeah,
right?
oh,
And I
yeah.
mean, we know like Jonathan Majors was going to be playing him, but yeah, this is going to be an amazing movie. I think this
hope
really is going to be like the startup to the next phases and the next long-term villain because Thanos is gone. But I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to see them all fight like in the quantum realm, like
Mhm.
Stature and Wasp and Ant-Man and Paul Rudd. I think he's probably one of the still like now he's him and like Anthony Mackie are still kind of like the big guys, right? And he's going to be around for a while, like Ant-Man.
Yeah,
So, and it's just crazy, like the way they went with the Ant-Man thing, like having Scott Lang as the Ant-Man instead
right.
of,
Hank Pym.
yeah, it's like, wow, they did it right. Like, because I remember before this came out, I'm like, oh, I don't know, man, they're not really going with the original one. Everybody else is like the original one, but
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
Quantumania, I think is going to be an absolute stellar movie, without a doubt.
I think one of the things I'm hoping for is, and I don't know if they'll end up doing this, but it did kind of, a lot of people thought back in when we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp that the quantum realm was going to also be somewhat of a merger of like the negative zone, like Fantastic Four's
Mm-hmm.
negative zone. And I thought that'd be really cool because I don't know how many goddamn zones you can keep doing, right? So you have like the quantum realm, then later you're going to do negative zone. So I'm really hoping we bleed that over a little and we get maybe, some hints at things like Annihilus and hints at like Blastar and some like Fantastic Four type things. Because keep in mind, Kang is a Fantastic Four villain. So this is a good way to kind of get us there, like kind of open the doors to some Fantastic Four themes, so to speak. So I think it would be awesome. Side note on Majors, bro, have you seen him in the Creed 3?
Yes.
Holy shit. And all I
Yeah.
could think is when I saw Creed 3, I was like, is that what Kang's gonna look like? Like, we're all fucked if that's what Kang looks like, dude. That guy's jacked in Creed 3, dude.
Yeah, that movie's gonna be cool. I'm excited. I love the
Like a
Creed
great
movies, but
movie.
yeah, man, like absolutely just a monster in that movie. And I'm like,
Dude, and I was like, move
ooh.
over Black Adam. Here's Jonathan Majors, Kang.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Quantumania, definitely gonna be an absolute great movie. Trailer was good. I'm excited for it. So
Yeah.
let's get out of the Marvel stuff. Zach, what do we
live-
got next?
Long live Phase 5, right?
Hell yeah. Let's get
Death
out
of
of
Phase
Black
4.
Panther is literally like 2 weeks away. I still haven't even bought my tickets. 3 weeks away, who knows, but I have to. And we'll see how that goes.
So moving on, you're gonna kind of take over this one because I talked quite a bit about it, but we talked a couple weeks ago with when we had TiVo on here. We talked about Lord of the Rings Rings of Power, and I know Justin's a big fan as well. So kind of want to get his take on what he thought about the show now that he's all caught up, watched it all, and whatnot. What'd you think?
So I know I don't think it was finished by the time you guys, right?
Oh,
You
yeah,
and
we haven't
Tim
watched the
talked.
last
So
episode,
there
I
was at
think.
least like 1 or 2 episodes. But I gotta say, for anybody who hasn't checked it out, definitely. I will say that the first episode was definitely the worst, probably to watch. I don't know if it was because you need to learn all these people's names, even though yes, there's some familiar faces and names from the previous Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies. It was definitely 1 or 2 episodes were struggles, but once you started getting into it, I definitely think the show was great. Galadriel, her storyline, Elrond's storyline with Doran, amazing.
Yeah,
The Southlands, great storyline as well. Oh god,
Harbrand.
like the hobbits, whatever they
Oh,
are,
yeah, the Furfoots or some shit like
Furfoots.
that.
Yeah, that I'm unfortunately I just can't. That I just couldn't get behind. And Zach and I
Yeah,
have had this
it's kind of lame.
conversation like on the side where it's just like they have to almost follow the formula of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, where they need to introduce and have all the classes, because if not, then I guess people are going to be upset that certain
Right.
classes of
Where are
people
the
aren't there.
hobbits? Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, man, once you started getting into well, first of all, the scenery, the cinematics pieces were great that were there. Obviously technology has changed so much that they can do things and it still looks like it was done well, right? Like Marvel does their CGI and stuff, and you can just tell ugh, it's starting to look a little weird, right? But I think it's $54 million an episode is what the cost of this one was.
You could tell they spent that money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Battle of the Southlands was absolutely epic. And then just, the reveal at the end, leading at the end of season 1, the whole Mordor thing. I mean, that was
awesome.
just, yeah. I think it's perfect. I think the way the season ended, it just you want more now. I don't want to wait, but
right. So there was a couple of things that I think the last episode Tim and I talked about was when Mordor got formed. And so some of the big reveals, let's talk about, obviously Harbrand kind of showing up and being Sauron was a change from the main story. And it's not to say that you have to stick to the main story. I mean, the Silmarillion, where a lot of this is based on, is appendices and kind of it's not like a natural story form, but that was kind of cool. They definitely broke away with the Mithril being so important and the 3 Elven rings being formed first, when I believe they were actually formed last. I'm hoping we get to see obviously more about the rings, and obviously I want to see the Nazgul rings, the Dwarven rings, all those. But Heartbrand was cool. It was a nice change. It was kind of a little. I was glad they went that way, because I think you and I talked about this. How same thing with the hobbits, the trope of here's our lost king and he's back now. I was how many kings do they goddamn lose in Middle Earth? The Aragorn theme again. Lost King Harbrand's back to be the leader of the Southland. I'm glad that didn't play out the way it played. The other big reveal is the one I think I'm the least happy about is. And I guess it hasn't been shown for sure yet, but I mean, obviously the implication is that the stranger character is Gandalf, right?
you know what's funny? I was just talking to my mother about this. She asked me that question. She's like, "Is it?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't think it is."
So in the books, Gandalf is the last to arrive to Middle Earth, and out of all the Istari, the 5 Istari, only 3 of them go east. And that's what they kind of talk about. What him and the little hobbit chick are talking about is they're going to go head east to this land. And there's only 3 that go east. It's Saruman goes east, and so do the 2 blue wizards. And the blue wizards never come back east. So I actually thought, I bet this is Saruman. I thought this is Saruman. And who is that going to be? But he had that line, the same line he said in Fellowship of the Ring when they were trying to remember when they're in Khazad-dûm,
Oh
and he's
yeah,
saying he's
he's
trying
fighting
to
the Balrog.
but before that, they're getting lost, and he's trying to find which path he goes to, and he smells, and he says like, "Oh, you can always tell by when in
Oh,
doubt, use your nose," is what he says. And this guy, the stranger, says the same thing. She's like, "Which way do we go?" And he says, "When in doubt, you use your nose," or something along that lines. Like, you
I
can't.
feel like that could just be like a thrown in there for like old people like us that
It totally could be, and I really hope it is. I hope it ends up being Saruman and not Gandalf, because once again, I mean, it's okay to get away from the story, but don't get away from the story too much. And like, dude, I think it'd be great. Like, look, man, we know a lot about Gandalf. He's the fucking hero. He's the man, bro. But show me how Saruman falls.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because he wasn't always bad. So show me good Saruman. Show me what changed him, what makes him join Sauron in the end. That's what I would love to see. That shit's what interests me. Not
Yeah.
Gandalf dicking around with more hobbits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to. I'd rather stay away from that, and even Isildur. Like, obviously, we know he's not dead because we know what happens.
Yeah, right.
In like the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, that we know that storyline. So, but I do like it how it was. Even like that, I like how that. You don't know. You really don't know like what's going on with him, where he is at all, and they don't even show him. After the Battle of the Southlands, which is amazing. So. I think season 2 is going to definitely be more, I would say, leaning towards him, and yeah, more leaning towards the wizard, and maybe even like each season they'll have like by the end is like the creation of the rings for each class.
Right.
Like that's how I feel that it could be.
Yeah. So we know that by the time Lord of the Rings starts, there's only 4 rings left, I believe, of the dwarves, and Sauron has all those, and obviously the 9 for humans are all the Nazgul. So, and then the three very much are with 2 of the elves and with Gandalf. So, yeah, it'd be really interesting. It's kind of one of the things that when I remember reading the books and then like, the mythology and stuff, you never know. They never talk about these other rings. It's like, it always bugged me. Like, you always talk about these rings of power and they're such a big deal, but like, what about all the rest? Like, okay, so 9 are evil with these guys. There's 7 with the dwarves that you barely even speak of, and you only see one of them throughout the whole series. And that always bugs me. So
I do like though how Galadriel says that like one for, oh god, I can't think of the line, whatever she says, like one for good, one for evil, and one to balance it. Like that's the whole reason of why they created 3.
oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I forget the
remember
exact
what you're
line
saying,
that they
yeah.
use, but yeah, it's something along those lines of like why they needed 3.
Right.
So
We'll see.
but I think it was a great season. I'm so excited, and it's like made me go back and like really want to sit down and watch the Lord of the Rings, because every time it's on TV, I can never watch it for the simple fact is whether it's the extended or the regular cut, I'm not going to be sitting there for 3.5 hours. I'm going to be sitting there for like close to 6 with all the with all the commercials. But I really need to sit down and literally go back and watch them again.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the show. I don't got a lot of shit. I know, let's talk about this real quick. Last thing about it. Like, there was a lot of like, for lack of a better word, SJW talk about regarding this, with making like Durin's wife black and then the black elf. And then obviously there was like there was the black Harfoots, and there was a couple like Asian characters in there as well, right? I feel like I saw it. Yeah. And like, look, man, who gives a shit? Like, this is a fantasy world, bro. And it was kind of weird, to be honest with you, in Lord of the Rings, that there was like, for the most part, it was only white people, right? I mean, I can't.
No, yeah, that's all it was. It was straight.
Yeah, I couldn't even. I tried to remember if I ever saw any person of color in the original Lord of the Rings.
Not at all. All like English, basically.
Right. And to be honest with you, it didn't take like those. It wasn't like, I get it when you say SJW and that shit bugs people, because it bugs me too sometimes. And if you're pushing that agenda in the show, and they never did, bro. Like, they didn't even comment. They treated Middle Earth like the way our world should treat race, which is like, whatever, dude. You're a different color. I don't really, doesn't really matter. Guess what? Durin's wife's black. Like, who gives a fuck? Who even knows what?
They're all just, they're all the same race.
Yeah, they're probably like, what do you mean she's black? What does that even mean? Like, they probably don't even get it. She's a dwarf. So I would have liked to see a beard on her. That would have been cool. But I really loved the elf, the, god damn it.
Oh yeah.
Honoril or
yeah.
Honorine, or yeah, he was badass. I liked him. I like the whole show, man. I'm really excited. I want to see more. I can't wait till season 2. Um, it was so expensive. I hope they do it. They do it again.
I heard
God only
5
knows.
seasons. I
Yeah,
heard they literally have they
I read that
literally have
too.
to do it at least 5 seasons.
But
It was
that's such
from-
a high price tag, though.
but it's Amazon. Like they have the money.
True,
Like,
they do have. Yeah,
they
Bezos
have
just flew to
the money.
space to
Yeah.
when you could have funded like all 5 seasons, probably.
Because I think it was like something like I think his son said, if you do this, you have to do it right,
Yeah.
and like it needs to be done. You know, you need whatever. Like
Christopher Tolkien. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
don't no. Bezos' son.
Oh, not J.R.R. Tolkien's son.
No.
Oh, okay.
Bezos said that. He's like, if you're gonna do it, don't be cheap in a way. Like something along those lines I remember reading. So
Interesting. Cool, man.
but yeah, nothing on season 2, so
No, nothing yet.
but we'll be here for it. I'm in for the long haul for this
Oh,
season.
for sure.
And I haven't even started, so now I get to start House of Dragons because of the fact that it's over and done, and now I can go and figure out all the names of all these other characters who I don't know.
I just watched the finale last night. It was awesome.
Yeah, I heard it was good, but I'm glad I watched Lord of the Rings because Lord of the Rings was like spoiled online before you know.
Yeah. Yeah, about the reveal and everything.
Yeah, like so like the reveal of who's who.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool. So let's round this out. Let's finish this show up with how we always finish it up with what are we currently reading. And Justin, you just told me before we started. Are you currently reading anything?
yeah, I mean I got 2 quick books
Okay, good.
that I'm currently reading. This was definitely a big week. So definitely a big week of stuff. Honorable mention obviously goes to Batman Beyond the White Knight. Every month when it comes out, Sean Murphy just kills it obviously on not only the writing but also on the art. This episode, or this issue continues the storyline of good old Bruce Wayne and his older self and having to deal with the GCPD as run by Mr. Nightwing Dick Grayson. And Jason Todd is finally in the mix in this main series because he had those 2 little one-shots. So I'm glad that he's finally in the main series. It's a lot of good back and forth. And then we get the introduction of more of like the Batman Beyond characters. So you get Blight. We briefly saw him in last month's episode or last month's issue, and now he's like, really in it for this. So, but he's so badass, and I'm so glad to see him. Like he's one of the most, I think he's such a great character. Obviously, people who have read and watched Batman Beyond, like Blight was always like a badass villain. And for him to really be in this universe is just, he's so creepy looking. So honorable mention definitely goes to Batman Beyond the White Knight. But man, I don't know if you read this, but the Riddler Year One by Paul Dano.
No, I thought you talked about this one already.
No, the other one that came out was the Two-Face one. The Two-Face one came out.
Yeah.
And then also the other
Penguin,
the other
shit's
Riddler.
came out, right? Or something.
Yeah, this is different. That was like the one shots on the villains.
One bad day, right?
Yeah, that was one bad day.
Sorry,
This is
one.
yeah. This is the DC Black Label.
Okay.
But done by Paul Dano, of course, who played the Riddler.
Mhm.
It's definitely interesting. Like you get a lot more pre like Batman or Matt Reeves' Batman's Riddler. So you get to see kind of him growing up and kind of like almost like an origin story, and it's involving things of like what was going on during Gotham City. But I like it, man. I really do. I think it's going to be really crazy, like as it goes on for these upcoming issues. So, and you get to see Batman too in it, which is cool. Like briefly, kind of like in the shadows. It's definitely the Matt Reeves Batman, like the armor and everything. So it's badass. It's Robert Pattinson's Batman in there, so pretty cool. But I definitely say give it a try if you want to read a little bit origin of the Riddler. What about you?
Right. So I have 2. I don't want to call them hot garbages, but 2 lackluster books of the week that I weren't very impressed with. One was Axe Judgment Day #6, which, to be honest, I don't know why I wasn't. Or I'm not surprised that I'm not surprised. I mean, it's Marvel, and I feel like their events, like we talked about, always start off so good, and then kind of just feel like they don't. I just after like issues 4, 5, and 6, I'm like that could have been done in one issue. And But so I don't know. I was kind of disappointed in the way Acts ended. Maybe things will be cool moving forward, but we'll see. And then the other one I read, I know I'm a couple weeks behind, but I picked up Alpha Betas from Whatnot Publishing, and I mean, pretty generic, pretty basic. I don't nothing really to write home about. I don't imagine I will buy another issue. I might read it online, maybe if I have time and I'm bored or something, but pretty lackluster. Now my 2 picks of the week are going to be a tie. First, we'll start, and you'll like this, dude. I get a little DC and a little Marvel. Moon Knight Annual #1 was awesome. I thought it was so cool. It has Werewolf by Night in it, and to give you an idea of what happens, basically Jack Russell, Werewolf by Night, shows back up. So Jack Russell tracks down and kidnaps Moon Knight's daughter and holds her hostage to kind of enact this prophecy that's supposed to, be the downfall of Moon Knight's god Khonshu, right? So Mark Spector, Moon Knight goes after him and attacks Jack Russell, Werewolf by Night. And it's really cool. It's a really fun issue. There's a lot of like callbacks to them kind of like knowing each other. And obviously, Moon Knight's first appearances in Werewolf by Night. So they have a bit of a story pass. So I really, really enjoyed that. Was surprised by that as well, because I typically don't like any annuals. We've always talked about annuals usually are kind of garbage, but this was a great issue. So check that out, Moon Knight Annual. And then I also really, really enjoyed Punchline #1, the Gotham game. Did you read that one?
I have it. I have not read it. Yeah. Right? There's just like so much that I need to catch up with.
It was a big one, but it was a really good issue. Man, I wasn't sure I was going to think I didn't think Punchline was going to be like a character who might stay around and be interesting, but that little like mini series they had in the back of one of those Batman titles for a while was really good. And then honestly, I think she's a good character. Like I really like what they're doing with her. I'm excited to kind of read this going forward, and it was good. I enjoyed it very, very much.
So. Yeah, I'm definitely excited. It was the Joker books. That's where all those backup stories were.
That's right. So, with her and Bluebird or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to definitely read it. She's a great character. I don't, she came out of the gate and everyone's like, oh, she's a Harley ripoff, but
no, man, she's definitely not. Yeah. I mean, in theme, maybe, and like the fact that she's a female that likes the Joker, but she's totally different than Harley.
Yeah.
So
good.
Awesome, man. So that is it. I know you've got some news for this upcoming weekend. Why don't you go ahead and share with the crew?
I will be at the Baltimore Comic-Con this upcoming weekend, making a last-minute trip with probably zero money intact because of New York Comic-Con, but I'm still going to be there. So if you're going to if you're going to Baltimore Comic-Con, feel free to find me. I'm probably going to be hanging out with Comic Enterprises. Can't think of his booth number off the top of my head, but it's probably in the 1100s. And then, that's pretty much it. I'll be at Baltimore all weekend. I'm actually leaving on Thursday, going to head down there, meet up with some people, and then convention is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll probably be doing a Whatnot sale from down there at some point. So be on the lookout for myself, probably tagging some places with some Comic-Con podcast stuff.
Fun stuff. Yeah. If you're in the Vegas area, you might find a bunch of Comic-Con podcast stickers littered around. They weren't too happy about it at certain casinos. Let me just tell you.
I'm pretty sure they're gone at the convention center at the Javits.
But so check that out. Make sure you follow Nemesis Prime this weekend on his Baltimore Comic-Con adventures. Also keep an eye out. I know we're about a week late, and that's my bad, about a Black Adam review. We'll be doing one here shortly. I should be seeing that movie shortly as well, and so we will knock one of those out. But
bonus content.
But that's it. That's all we've got. Episode 42, Dunzo, and we will catch you guys next week. See you later.
Yeah.